And Nigel, thank you very much. You could probably hear Jamie Vardy at the beginning of his post-match interview there. I can see it on the screen next to me, looking very, very delighted indeed. A 1-0 defeat for Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. No, Adrian Clarke is with me to discuss what we've just seen. It was the classic Adrian smash and grab job from Leicester. Unfortunately, we said it at half-time. Will it be the type of game that we will, rue our missed opportunities in the first half? And it very much is that game.
Yeah, the narrative was there to be written, wasn't it? We all saw Jamie Vardy on the bench. First half, I thought, was a pretty good Arsenal performance. Definitely the best we've seen at home this season in terms of creativity, tempo. We created good chances and we were very unfortunate not to score at least 2 goals. And you thought, are we going to be made to pay for that? Is Vardy going to come off the bench and make the difference? He did. I think Leicester regrouped at half-time. They certainly improved. Caught us with a sucker punch goal. But look, from an Arsenal point of view, that was a desperately disappointing second half performance. It was flat tempo, very predictable in the way that Arsenal moved the ball around. 11 shots in the first half, just 1 from half-time onwards. And really, on home turf, that's not good enough. And Mikel Arteta will know that. So yeah, a lot of soul searching, I think, in the dressing room right now, because it fell apart quite dramatically tonight.
What do you put it down to, Adrian? Why, normally when Mikel Arteta can get himself into the team to give some advice, we saw it after the restart when we had the water breaks and stuff like that. Whenever Mikel Arteta can, give the team advice and do a bit of a team talk, they normally come out swinging, but it just seemed to have the opposite effect this evening.
It's true, yeah. No, it did. I mean, from Arteta's point of view, I guess at half-time, it would have been same again, please, lads. But you've got to realise sometimes that the opposition will change and they'll adapt to the situation. And Leicester certainly worked Arsenal out. And the way that Arsenal were carving them open didn't happen in the second half. A lot of that had to do with David Luiz, who we lost in the first minute of the second half. He opened up the pitch brilliantly, didn't he, with his distribution up until half-time. That was sorely missed. But it's not just that. I just felt that we weren't brave enough in the second half. We didn't commit enough bodies forward. We played a solo artist too many times. You want to see combinations. You want to see little 1-2s around the box, triangles inside the opposition half. And first half they were there. Second half they weren't. They really weren't. Players got the ball and they were expected to just make something happen, and that just didn't work. So, and that certainly wasn't the game plan. What disappointed me was that the Gunners just let that second half drift away. It was pretty obvious early doors that it wasn't working, that we needed an injection of something. And it deteriorated, if anything.
We've also seen on numerous occasions, Adrian, just how easy it seems to unlock this Arsenal defence. Just a ball over the top. That's how simple it was to unlock the defence. And Jamie Vardy nearly got in again later on in the second half. It wasn't over the top, but it was just a ball in behind. And we've seen it in other games as well. Why is it, other teams can do that to our defence so easily, but for us to, unlock pick the lock at the other end of the pitch seems so difficult.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, we did get in behind Leicester a few times in the first half, but not in the way that Leicester carved us open for the goal. On the goal, Granit Xhaka, we talked about him being asked to drop in as a left-sided centre-back at times. What I think happened is that Brendan Rodgers and his coaching staff looked at that at half-time and thought, right, when that happens, we're going to try and target him. We're going to try and target him with runners from deep, because Granit Xhaka is a good player, we know that, but he's not the quickest. And Cengiz Under had the legs on him, I'm afraid to say. It was a really well-timed run, clipped into space behind. He was dead and buried, wasn't he, Granit Xhaka? There was nothing he could do. And from that moment onwards, Jamie Vardy was always going to find the space inside the box to convert the goal. So I think that Leicester identified Granit Xhaka in that centre-back position as a possible weakness, and they exploited it. If Gabriel was there in that left side centre-back position at that moment, I'm not convinced that Under would have run off of Gabriel. So that's something we need to look at moving forwards.
Yeah, well, there's definitely going to be questions out there, especially because, we've got William Saliba, who can't seem to get into the squad. Skodra Mustafi came on this evening. And also, as we've already said, Granit Xhaka was playing kind of a makeshift centre-half at times as well. So,
And on the Xhaka, in terms of our play, I just thought we were really predictable. Thomas Partey, we're very excited to see him ahead of kickoff, but he was very quiet in the game. And all of our passing moves seemed to come through Xhaka. I've looked at the passing stats. Granit Xhaka had almost double the amount of passes that Thomas Partey made and double the amount that Dani Ceballos had. I just felt that sometimes we wasted Thomas Partey in there. He's showing for the ball, and it always went left to Granit Xhaka, and then kind of he was bypassed a little bit, Thomas. And I think that he's a player we should be building attacks through, because we saw against Rapid Vienna, really progressive with crisp forward passes into the forward players. And that was really missing and lacking from the team in the second half.
Yep, well, we'll have to see what happens with that. We've got a Europa League game on Thursday, of course, and hopefully that it'll be a different outcome there. But let's move on to what we've learned from tonight's game then. 3 things, of course. Let's have a look at the first of the 3 then, and it is this: when our press works, creativity isn't such a big problem. And we should have a couple of tweets on this before I get your thoughts as well, Adrian. AV says Arsenal pressing really well and finding good solutions to break Leicester down. After that, it's just about ball retention and quality in attack. Hopefully we show those attributes. We will have another one from Joe Press, in fact, who says Arsenal's offensive approach reminds me of Real Madrid's a few years ago, when some said Zidane was tactically basic, exclusively playing down the flanks, players positioning themselves in an arc around the pitch, no attempt to penetrate central areas of the pitch, lots of crosses. So, yeah, the press in the first half, it has to be said, was good, but we never saw the same pattern of play in the second half, Adrian.
We didn't, no. We stepped off the gas and we didn't win the ball in good areas. I had a look. I think that we won the ball. We didn't win the ball inside the final 40 yards of the pitch in the second half, and in the first half happened on numerous occasions. So, and when you do lack creativity, turning the ball over becomes even more important. I also agree with that tweet who says we're not having enough creativity down the centre of the pitch. We are moving the ball wide as a matter of course, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as the play is sharp when it goes wide. But what's happened, because there's not any immediate support for the man in possession, they take a touch, 2 touches, everything slows down and the opposition regroup. It's fine to go wide. When it goes wide, you want someone to quickly support. In it goes, bang, little 1-2. That was the one chance we had in the second half. Wide to Tierney, little 1-2 with Oba, and a lovely cross for Bellerin, who was unlucky not to score. We should be doing that all the time. And it happened once in the second half. So, yeah, that's a real frustration. And I do feel we need to be surging down the middle of the pitch a little bit more. Ceballos, Xhaka, they always seem to look to funnel the ball out wide. I want to see the ball come into the centre forward a bit more often, just to mix things up.
Yep. Right. That's the first thing we've taken from tonight's game. Let's have a look at the second thing that we've learnt, and it is this: Tierney and Bellerin remind us how dangerous our attacking fullbacks can be. Yeah, they had lots of the ball, lots of chances. Let's have a look at a tweet on this. Josh says, Arsenal 4-3-3, loving it. Fullbacks crossing like mad. Keep this
first
formation.
Half tweet, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely a first half tweeter. Because as already discussed, the second half was a different story. But just a word on the fullbacks.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were loving the second half, that is for sure. No, look, I think one positive to come out of tonight and the way that we played is that we got the fullbacks into advanced areas a lot, particularly in the first half. And they looked dangerous, didn't they? Tierney in the first half was excellent. It's a terrific supply line. And Bellerin had a good chance to score. We had 2 in the game, 2 opportunities to score. And he as well stretched the opposition. So that's a positive. And they have reminded us these 2 guys can make an impact in the final third, but they need more support. They need they need players to bounce balls off and to create those opportunities. So that's a positive. But as we sit here on the back of a 1-0 defeat tonight, it's hard to take too many positives, isn't it? Because that was a really flat, sort of demoralising second half display where we ran out of ideas. Let's be frank here.
And say what you want about Manchester United, it's them away next, so it's puts more pressure on that game. One that we're kind of looking at it like we need to go there and get a win now.
Tough fixture list. We knew that. We knew we had a tough start to the season, but your home games you expect to win. And look, we talked about, its history has been made tonight. Leicester have got the first win away to Arsenal since 1973. And for the first time since 2002, We've lost a home game in the month of October. We talked about the omens being potentially on Arsenal's side, but look, that goes to show that if you don't take your chances in the first half, then omens mean absolutely nothing.
So what you're saying, Adrian, essentially it's all our fault if we didn't mention that stuff in the pre-match.
It's got nothing to do with that. We've got, that's our job. We like to paint the picture ahead of kickoff. Talk about these stats, points of interest. We'll continue to do that. It's not about jinxing anything.
Yeah,
they won today, Leicester, because they were lucky in the first half to come in at 0-0, but they regrouped tactically and they exploited a weakness in Arsenal in the second half. And as we said ahead of kickoff, they are the most clinical team in the division. They'd scored with a quarter of their shots this season, 25%. And I think they only have that many efforts on goal tonight, and they scored from one of them. That's we've paid a heavy price for missing those chances in the first half. And of course, for that early disallowed goal as well, which I still think should have stood.
Well, the last time I checked, they'd had one shot on target, and it was the goal. So I'm not certain off the top of my head if it ended that way.
One at the end, wasn't there? Leno save from Vardy right at the end. But.
Yeah, still frustrating all the same. Right, let's have a look at the third thing that we've learned from tonight's game. Then the third and final thing is this: we're still waiting to put two quality 45 mins together, and this has been picked up by you online as well as us here. We've been talking about it loads. Guna Selavi says a second half pretty poor. Creatively, Leicester defended decently, got more control of the ball. Very frustrating game. Not taking 3 points versus this team is really bad, and we got punished. We've got one here from Teacup Tech, which says Arteta is still tweaking the team and his formations. Alas, Luiz going off changed the game well along with Vardy coming on. We simply need to do better. Frustrating second period, but just on the point of stringing two decent 45s together, we need to kind of do that, Adrian.
Absolutely, you do. Yeah, I mean, look, not everything's going to go your way. It's no good going in at half time thinking, oh, we've played great there. If it's 0-0, you've got to then regroup and do it all over again. And Arsenal, when it didn't go their way first 10 minutes, I was just a little bit alarmed at the body language. There wasn't that drive, that sort of mentality where, come on, boys, let's get back to what we were doing in that first half. It was almost as if the loss of David Luiz really shook the team, and it was like, oh, that's a real blow. And chins began to drop. It was incredibly frustrating second half. First half, we had 11 shots. Leicester had 1 shot. We were utterly dominant. We should have been at least 2 goals to the good. In the second half, we had 1 effort on goal, good effort from Bellerin, and that was it. And Leicester, I think, had 5 efforts by the time the final whistle came in that second half. So that's the big frustration for me. The players realised it wasn't working. The manager could see it wasn't working, but we didn't really, other than making substitutions, there wasn't an obvious change to the way Arsenal's approach in the second half. We didn't see any obvious change there, and that was disappointing. I would have liked to see maybe one of the 3 central midfielders just gambling, joining in with Alexandre Lacazette a little bit more often, making runs into the box. But I can't remember Dani Ceballos or Xhaka or Thomas Partey getting anywhere near the opposition 18-yard box, especially in that second half. So little things to work on. It's look, we go home very, very disappointed tonight. Or we don't go home; we're already at home. But we switch off from this game feeling really, really flat. And at half time, it didn't feel like it was going to be that kind of night. No. It's absolutely gutting.
Yeah, very much so. And thankfully, as you've already said, we are already at home. So, we could just switch this off and go to bed. Tomorrow is another day. Right, Adrian, as always, thank you very much for keeping us company this evening. You'll be back alongside me on Thursday. We've got Europa League action to contend with. Dundalk are the visitors to the Emirates Stadium. It's an 8:00 kickoff, so make sure you log on to arsenal.com at around 7:30, and we'll see you then. Take care.